Hello everyone, I'm Solomon G, and today's video will be a little different. This is about a video game, not a deep dive into a fictional character or a movie review. After receiving a blog comment plus an email, I decided to take a look at Saeko, Giantess dating sim. This alleged dating sim released in late May 2025 and sells for 1,790 yen. That equated to about $13.49 in US currency when I purchased it, so pretty affordable. The interface is available in Chinese, either simplified or traditional characters, English, and Japanese. None of the dialogue was voiced, which was a shame, but I'll explain more about that later on. Right off the bat, I must note that this review will not spoil plot points, and is going to be vague. This is a short game, easily completed in a single day, so I want to preserve surprises. Accordingly, I discourage watching playthroughs and alternate endings on YouTube. Those videos give away everything. My intent is to provide only enough information so potential customers can make an informed decision. Accordingly, I must stress that this is actually a horror game, not a dating simulator. Dating sims involve dialogue challenges in which the player tries to woo potential lovers. In contrast, the dialogue challenge here is to stay alive. Sometimes the dialogue that sets off your oversized partner might seem rather benign. Dialogue that ends the player's life felt a tad arbitrary, so they must walk on eggshells to survive. Perhaps that is realistic when captured by a sadist, but for gameplay purposes it felt like making progress was more due to luck than skill. I uttered once, and that was the end of me. This is much more a visual novel than a game per se. Much of your time is spent advancing dialogue without creative problem solving. Discussions with your fellow tinies are on rails, so to speak. Therefore, you cannot choose to be naughty or nice. All you do is click through until the end of the talk without branching options. Notably, you can fast forward to make replays quicker. There was an instance when the game asked if I wanted to end a particular character, and I had no option but to follow through. Preferably, I could have walked away, but the game only permitted a single action. However, there are meaningful choices to be made which lead to multiple different endings. Just not as many opportunities for varied playstyles as you might want. Regarding the audio, there was a suitable background music which changed to fit the particular mood. But unfortunately, there was no voice acting. That absence was most unfortunate when a character sung right before they died. Singing was their last act on this earth, yet the song was not actually performed by a person. Instead, musical notes played, and their unvoiced words appeared on the screen. If any moment should have been voiced, it should have been that moment. It would have made no difference if the voice actor was horribly out of tune with a trembling voice, struggling to pronounce the words. A poor performance could emphasize the terror felt by a person who was scared to death, but nonetheless defiantly lived their life doing what they loved until the bitter end. Speaking of the other tinies, they were written rather well. Wish I had more time to learn about them and their lives. All except a certain insufferable and self-important author. As a writer of a few stories myself, I can confidently report that his depiction was wildly inaccurate. Beyond merely advancing the plot, there were a few other things to do as well. At a certain stage in each day, the player has access to Saeko's cell phone, and can collect items on her desk, peruse the news, play a skateboarding minigame which only allows 3 attempts per day, read a cell phone novel, and sneak a peek at their captor's emails. Unfortunately, you cannot save the game at this point in front of the flip phone. So if a person hypothetically wished to return to this particular stage, in order to try again at beating the skateboarding minigame, they would have to redo stages beforehand. Such a person might, hypothetically, speak about this problem if they were to record a review. There it was appropriate and worked well, particularly in the opening sequence, when Rin was captured and during a moonlight conversation. However, it lacked detail when Saeko took a stroll down a busy street, which in reality would have had multiple posters and signs, but in the game just had a smear of illegible textures. Additionally, during a brief conversation about fashion, Saeko discussed Rin's unchanging wardrobe. It made sense that Rin would only have one set of clothes which fit his minuscule body. However, she had her entire wardrobe available to her, yet her clothes never varied. She wore the same clothes day after day after day. This oddness was further emphasized when Saeko mentioned that she had spent extra time one morning applying makeup and donning a fancy dress. She said the words, but in reality her look never changed, so it created a dissonance. To word this critique more succinctly, she should have worn different clothes on different days. Overall, I recommend Saeko Giantess Dating Sim to fans of cruel giantesses and to horror fans in general. Normally I sweat over using the word giantess when the woman in question never changes size, only her victims do. However, in this simulation, giantess was appropriate, at least for one ending, and that is all I have to say about that. A person can easily finish the entire game in a day, including replays to see the alternate endings. Additionally, the version used for this review came from Steam and had 20 different achievements to earn. That's it for today, folks. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. If you're over 18 and would like to read editorials, interviews with artists and authors, and written reviews, then hop over to thereShigurus.net. I'll see you there.